Hi, my name is Marilyn Thompson and I'm the Marketing Director at the History Museum. Welcome to Museum Live. Do you know the names Chapin or Navarre or Coquillard? There are streets named this in South Bend, and these streets are named for local settlers of our community. We thought it might be fun to go back in time to the 1830s and talk with a local pioneer. If we could, it might look something like this.
Ma'am, how are you? We haven't seen a woman out here in about 6 months now, I think.
Is that so?
It's sparse populated out here.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to interrupt your day and talk with you a little bit about your life and about this area that you're living in. I wonder, can you please tell us how long you have been here in this area?
I've come down from Fort Detroit throughout the summers for the last several years, and then decided I'm tired of walking back and forth to Detroit, so I decided I'm just going to stay here. Mr. Navarre is here already across the river. Mr. Coquillard is farther downriver or upriver, and I can usually trap and trade with them and use them as a resource as to what season it is, what kind of animals are coming in to season. So
I see. Well, you mentioned that you walk from upper parts of Detroit?
Upper parts of Detroit. I can use the river a little bit. Believe it or not, the Native Americans on the northeastern part have another river that they name St. Joe and the St. Joseph River, but this one, the Miamis have named the river the Miamis. So I try to use those, but they're kind of far apart. So I use animal trails, Native American trails. They beat down the brush and stuff, so it's easier to walk, but that's how you have to get around.
Very interesting. I wonder, what is your normal, typical day? What are some of the things that you have to take care of from day to day here?
Well, if you got to live out here, you got to always prepare for the following season or the next coming season.
Okay.
So we're kind of in the springtime now. We're getting ready for summer, so there'll be a lot of trapping and hunting. The trapping will pick up. I'll have to put down traps, usually around nighttime, and then I have to go and remember where they all are in the morning to go around to check them. Most of the rest of the day is spent usually out in the woods, either hunting for larger animals, like we've had some elk down here. You always have to usually carry some kind of gun because there's bears here now, and they've come down from Michigan, so you have to be careful when you're going around, especially if you have picked up trapped animals. Bears have a very good sense of smell, and they have a bad habit of following you home. So you just have to be careful going around, and then the whole thing starts all over again at night. Put down traps again. All in between times you're preparing furs, getting them together. When I get too much that I can't carry anymore, I go to either Mr. Coquillard's trading post or I go to Mr. Navarre, and he will trade out for things that I need, like sugar, flour, corn, whatever I need, so we trade those out. So there's not a whole lot of cash money floating around, so we barter for things that we need out here.
So you mentioned that you use the furs to get some of the supplies that you need, or to get some type of payment?
Yeah, you use them, it's kind of use it as cash. Some pelts or furs will get you more. Some pelts, like what's on top of my head, won't get you much. Nobody really likes skunk furs. So, but you can also use those pelts because after summer, you've got autumn coming up and the dreaded winter around here. Usually throughout summer and fall, all you're doing is, beyond all your trapping duties and everything else, you are cutting and stacking firewood for wintertime, because it lasts so long that you can't run out or you'll freeze to death out here. So it just all depends on kind of what the next season coming up. A lot of the Native Americans are actually a little smarter than me in the fact that they decide to travel farther south and follow the better weather so they don't have to be up here. But with this area kind of becoming more populated day by day, you're starting to get more people moving in here. I thought I'd stick around for a little bit longer and see if we can maybe get a town formed to where we could get some bigger trading posts here and many more trading posts, and see if we can't raise the price of the pelts.
So you mentioned Mr. Coquillard, and he has a trading post here?
He has a trading post not too far upriver or downriver. He's not maybe, I don't know what you want to call it, maybe he's not even a mile downriver. He's got a trading post right at the river's edge almost. Mr. Taylor came in, he's got one also not too far away, probably another block or so away from Mr. Coquillard. Mr. Coquillard also has used the river power to make a grist mill. So now if you plant corn, if you're one of the other farmers that live in the little outskirts around here and you plant corn or wheat or buckwheat, you can take it there and he can grind it into flour. So that's not something that we have to rely on trading from some of the trading post proprietors around, that we can have our own grist mill in town, which is important. So got that. We're trying to get a blacksmith in, because blacksmith is valuable because they usually make guns along with all of the iron things that I need, like traps. Traps are expensive to get and try to buy. And so you take care of the traps that you have. And if you have a blacksmith in town, it's much cheaper because they can make it right on site. So
I have heard that some of the furs, the furs that are trapped here and traded to, say, Mr. Coquillard or Mr. Navarre, are then sent back to Europe, where they are quite valuable, or?
From what I'm told, a lot of furs from here get transported through the giant lakes, and there is a really old fort at a place called Mackinac Island, and that's a major trading post for the American Fur Trading Company. So a lot of the furs from here go up there, they get cashed out, they get bundled up, and they take them through the Great Lakes, most of the Great Lakes, to get them to the East Coast, and then they're put on big ships and taken over to Europe. From what I understand, especially beaver right now is very sought after, because evidently they are using the fur somehow to make hats of some sort.
Oh my.
I don't think, from some of the drawings that Mr. Navarre showed me, they're not like this hat. They look like a stovepipe, but they're got some kind of way that they fasten the beaver hair around it. Since the beaver live in the water, they're waterproof, so evidently the hats stay waterproof also. So, but those are very sought after right now. And so it's getting a little bit harder and harder to find beaver, because when I first came down here as a kid, you could step and throw a rock at a beaver. That's how many there were down here. So, but they are slowly getting trapped.
I see. Now we're standing right here in front of this beautiful river, and you mentioned that you walked. So I know that you use your feet as transportation. But do you ever do you have a boat of any type, of canoe?
Yeah, we have a type of canoe that me and a friend built. Basically, it's just a wooden framed vessel that has covering of bark from a specific tree called a birch tree. Birch tree bark comes off in like sheets, and they're real thin and they're easy pliable, and you just seal up the edges, and it's waterproof. You got to be careful. This is a great river to do it on because it's not shallow. You don't have to run the risk of hitting rocks or sharp crags or sandbars or whatnot. But inevitably, you'll have to get out somewhere, and you'll have to still walk over land sometimes, and you have to take all that stuff out. So you don't want to carry a lot of stuff, material, because you're going to have to be tearing it wherever you go.
My goodness. I can't imagine what life is like for you here. I mean, it's a beautiful day today, but as you mentioned, winter will be coming, and you have a lot to do to prepare for the snow and the cold, and for staying warm, and for making sure that you are doing everything that you need to do to get.
And it gets more complicated if you have a family. Luckily,
yes.
by myself,
Yes.
Mr. Navarre's just got married. And they have right now, I think, 4 kids, and so they're going to have to work even harder to try to support now that they have more people in their cabin. So I'm I can go wherever I want. If things don't work out here, take off. The river's also good, not only for transportation but also fishing. We do some fishing just to vary our diet a little bit.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for taking time, stopping, and letting us ask you so many questions. And I hope that you're able to stay here from this point forward and see what all of your good hard work is going to do when it comes to fruition. And Mr. Coquillard and Mr. Navarre and Mr. Chapin as well. So thank you so much, Mr. Pioneer, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you.
And thank you for stopping and visiting with us and with our Pioneer as we learn more. And if you want to see more, you can go to the History Museum, where we have a lot of information about the early settlers of our community. So until next time, please enjoy history and make sure that you come back so that you can experience Museum Live.